You remember when the average household had a box TV and everything on TV was in a boxy aspect ratio? And when you bought a DVD, you could either buy the full screen DVD, which would take up the entire screen, or you could buy the widescreen version that let you show the movie without any cropping, but then it would have the black bars on the top and bottom, and it was like super annoying. This eventually led to TVs being sold in entirely different aspect ratios that looked like this. And suddenly you could watch all media without it being cropped or altered. But what if I told you that it was all a lie? A lie by Big TV to sell you the movie theater experience at home. And what if I told you there's a new lie brewing, according to me? All of this begs the question, are you really seeing more movie? Or are you seeing less movie? Because more movie equals better movie. Less movie? Not as good as more movie. Hi, my name is Sassy, and if you're a tech or film enthusiast, I've probably ruined your day because you know I'm full of shit. I want to talk about a fun and irritating theory that I have that Big TV will eventually sell us the 4x3 TVs again, but like flat and plasma looking, if that makes sense. I don't need disclaimers. Clearly, I'm very qualified to talk about this. Subscribe if you hate yourself. First, I want to explain how this theory was introduced to my brain before deciding to bother y'all with this. I've been scrolling on TikTok, as one does, and my feed has been filled with people freaking out over something stupid. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey.
There is no reason that we should not be able to see the full IMAX ratio on regular movie screens, regular theater screens.
Why can't we just see IMAX on a normal screen? You know what I mean? Like, I get it, IMAX is a special thing that needs to be experienced on a specific screen to get the full widescreen effect. But if I'm not near an IMAX theater and I want to see the full aspect ratio, they can't just project the square on a normal theater?
The Odyssey isn't stupid. I'm actually really excited to see it this weekend. Maybe in 4DX, so I know what it's like to shit myself for my new Parasite friend while riding on Matt Damon's mythology boat. What I find to be stupid is the way people are reacting to Christopher Nolan's artistic decision to film this movie in an entirely IMAX 70mm film. People are losing their minds over this and calling for Christopher Nolan to be banished from the realm. Hey Sassy, can you tell me what the hell's going on? I'm confused. And you suck at explaining this. This movie release just made people realize that just because a movie exists doesn't mean you can physically see all of it. Only some of it. Because you might not live next to one of the 41 theaters in the world that lets you see all of it. Okay, I'm backing up. IMAX isn't new. IMAX has been around for a really long time, but not all IMAX is the same. This isn't a video of the history of IMAX. There's really great videos that explain this a lot better than I can, because I'm not very good at this. But for the purpose of this video, all you need to understand is that the allure of IMAX is that you can watch a movie on a much bigger screen, and the physical projection itself shows more movie with a taller and more square aspect ratio. Less movie bad, more movie good. And using a proper IMAX camera allows the production to capture the highest resolution and detail possible for a movie. But in the past, IMAX movies weren't shot entirely with proper IMAX cameras because they're gigantic and heavy and they're hard to shoot with, so compromises always had to be made, because it's just not practical to film entirely on this medium for a million different reasons. So when Christopher Nolan releases Matt Damon the movie and shot it entirely on IMAX 70mm film, it was a big deal. He wanted to bless us with so much movie that the lettuce parasites from Mexico would also start shitting themselves. So as you can see on this picture here, the version of the Odyssey that you decide to buy tickets for will determine how much of Matt Damon's head you'll see. The regular 70mm film and the Dolby and the premium, whatever, you might only get to see his forehead. So what if you want to see Matt Damon's entire head? Well, if you notice on the IMAX example, there's some lines here. And that's because IMAX doesn't always mean IMAX. Unless you're this guy, who apparently does a lot of maxing. He just maxes a lot. Just kidding, his name's Braden. There's about 45 theaters worldwide that show IMAX in this larger version of Matt Damon's head, while there's over 1,700 pretend IMAX theaters that only show his hairline. And if you want to see Matt Damon's entire head in the best detail possible, with the best colors and the best contrast, you have to see this movie in IMAX 70mm film, which can only be shown in 41 locations in the world, with 25 of those locations being in the US, and 8 of those 25 theaters being in California. California is getting so much Matt Damon head. Naturally, the internet is jealous. I'm jealous. I think this post captures how all these people are feeling right now. The Odyssey is a movie where people literally see less. No Matt Damon head, no Tom Holland head. First the Strait of Hormuz, and now this. They closed the Strait of Matt Damon. People on TikTok are absolutely losing their shit over this. which is so ridiculous for a lot of different reasons. Because this film was intended to be viewed in the aspect ratio for non-IMAX theaters and for the fake piss boy IMAX theaters that only go up to the hairline. And now suddenly able-bodied people care about accessibility. And a lot of people are saying that his artistic decision to film this way is pretentious. Say what you want about Christopher Nolan. I personally enjoy some of his movies, and you don't have to like his movies, but just because you can only experience a work of art in its purest form in a museum doesn't make it pretentious. It just makes it art. So anyways, I've been staring at the lack of Tom Holland's head in this picture, and I've also been seeing people complain about the lack of Tom Holland head in this picture and how much head they could be getting, which finally allows me to properly introduce my thesis. I believe people will eventually associate more head with better quality. Specifically, an aspect ratio that was traditionally considered to be full screen. And before the aspect ratio police comes here to eat my ass, I know that 4:3 is not the same as 1.43:1. So you can all shut the fuck up, you fucking nerds. It's close enough for what I'm talking about, okay? There was a time where this was everyone's TV. This is a 4:3 aspect ratio, and if you wanted to watch a movie in widescreen or the same shape as how it's shown in theaters, you would either have to deal with these black bars, or you could splurge on this widescreen TV in 2001 for $13,000. Of course, eventually, as time went on, the widescreen TVs with the 16:9 aspect ratio took control. And as a result, even TV shows which historically were shot for 4:3 aspect ratios started to be made for widescreen TVs. And it's for a good reason. It makes more sense. Because even though widescreen media is much more pleasing to watch, you can still watch the media in the 4:3 aspect ratio and have black bars on the side. Shit, you'll usually have black bars on the top and bottom of the widescreen TV anyways. So Sassy, why would you ever think that we'd go back? It makes no sense. I know. I'm gonna explain several reasons why I believe 4:3 will be coming back one day to haunt us.
You guys, my last video got over 68,000 views, and that's just incredibly insane. I'm very grateful. So I would like to take this opportunity to help a family in desperate need of medical attention. If only 5% of the people that watched my last video donated $1, then Mesa and her family would very quickly reach their goal of 5,000 euros that they very much need. It just goes to show how much $1 can really change someone's life. If you're interested in donating, please click on the link in my description below. Thanks, and back to the video.
First, I want to explain the phases we can expect according to my professional opinion, okay? Phase 1, the public demands more of Matt Damon's head. This is happening right now, and we're past that and up the ass. Phase 2, movie studios notice how badly the public yearns for Matt Damon head and prioritize filming movies that they can present in IMAX, specifically through the Filmed for IMAX program using IMAX certified cameras. Not the gigantic 70mm film ones, but the digital ones that are more accessible. This isn't new, I just think we're gonna see more of it. Phase 3, the general public will start to assume that only poor people literally see less, and that every widescreen movie has mysterious visual treasure that we as poor headless people don't get to see. In phase 4, hey, whoa. Hi, you ever heard of capitalism? Yeah, I've heard of capitalism. Watch this. Whoa. Whoa. That was there the whole time? More screen. How is he doing that? You're seeing more now. Phase 5. This becomes this. As ridiculous as it might seem, this concept can be advertised as bringing the IMAX experience to your living room. And suddenly, TV shows and YouTube videos are exported in a way that give off the illusion that we can see more. And now, poor people can purchase an IMAX-style TV so that they can watch Matt Damon head and Tom Holland head in all of its glory, all for the low, low price of $13,000 that they can finance through Klarna. For those of you who aren't convinced yet, I just need you to consider a few things. TVs are cheaper than they've ever been. Don't think for a second that TV companies are foaming at the mouth at the thought of the average person paying car prices for TVs like they used to. Okay, Sassy, we understand. Companies are greedy, what's new? Now I need you to go on Nextdoor and look at the first post you see. Would they buy this shit if they were convinced that buying a new TV would give them access to head that they've never experienced? I'm trying to rehome a cat whose owner passed away on Nextdoor. If you're in Kansas City and want a cat, let me know. Christine says,
"Thank you for feeding and watering it."
I think she'd buy the shit out of this. I really annoyed people on TikTok while testing the waters on this topic. People seem to not only take this very, very seriously, but also a lot of people completely miss my point. Just put black bars on it, dude. All modern TVs can be full screen, bro. What are you on about? Full screen? You mean letterbox format? Low think take here. They'll just release it in letterbox format. So I consider myself to be a bit of a businesswoman, so I feel like I could speak on this topic because I sold my extra copy of Fire Red on eBay once. So as a business professional. Do you think I'm a fucking idiot? Of course it doesn't make any sense. Ooh, surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. I bet you think you're so big and smart by going, yeah, okay, sassy. But did you know that you can watch full screen movies on your widescreen TV? Yeah, it'll just have black bars on it. Wait, hold on. No, you're kidding. I'd never even considered this. I don't believe you. It's not about can I watch it? Because the answer is obviously yes. You can watch it, but if people are convinced that having a TV with a different shape provides a more enhanced experience, I think people would buy it. And also, I'm not pitching this on Shark Tank. People buy dumb, expensive shit all the time. We have refrigerators with iPads on them. I mean, this guy wants it. Tyler requires more content for his iPad. So we've established how movie studios might have an incentive to do this to get more people into theaters. We've established why TV companies have an incentive to reinvent what they left behind and advertise it as the same way as before. And we've established that people buy dumb shit. It's a pretty easy blueprint to follow because it's already been done. I mean, people bought widescreen TVs because every single movie was cropped when it was watched in full screen, and people wanted to watch everything that they were missing in the theater. Except I found out that this isn't always the case. There's a really awesome channel called Outside the Frame, and they do comparisons of how different a movie looks based on the format they were released in. While it's true that movies like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars truly cropped a lot out of the frame to fit a full screen aspect ratio because of the way it was shot, movies like Back to the Future and Jurassic Park actually cropped the video for the widescreen format because it was natively filmed differently than widescreen. I didn't realize that Pixar actually would render out sequences specifically for full screen versions of their movies, making some of the shots bigger. Spider-Man has more head. Shrek 2 has more head. Again, all this can be better explained on this guy's channel, so definitely check it out when you have a minute. My point is that while it doesn't truly make sense in the large scope of things to switch the default aspect ratio, there is a fairly valuable incentive to watch certain movies in a 4:3 format. I know these seem like niche examples, but there's a lot of movies that have more to see because of the way they were filmed, and a lot of TV shows that were natively filmed in 4:3 that are cropped for widescreen. You could definitely argue that versions of these movies can be watched on an existing 16:9 TVs, and they can. I'm just saying that it gives companies a shiny new thing to sell because what the fuck else are they gonna do? But what about movies like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings? They would look terrible in 4:3. So what I'm about to say might actually ruin your day. If only there was a way to extend a shot so that we see more of it, even though Star Wars A New Hope is natively widescreen. Oh wait, this has been done a million times on TikTok. People expand movies with AI all the time, just for fun. The Wizard of Oz was extended with AI for the Las Vegas Dome, and it made so much money. So imagine a way for companies that already want to increase their stock price to not only resell you movies that you've already seen, but charge extra to rent the IMAX AI Enhanced Edition. And if none of this becomes what ultimately brings back the 4:3 TV experience, one thing absolutely will. The old box TVs might be done in a 4:3 aspect ratio, but do you know what else has a 4:3 aspect ratio? iPads. And who uses iPads? iPad kids. And I believe that iPad kids will grow up one day holding their iPads in protest on Capitol Hill, demanding that media must be made in 4:3. And that brings us back to what we're all here to try and figure out. How will we as a society ensure that everyone, regardless of how poor and helpless they are, to have access to as much AI Matt Damon head that they want? How will we make sure that my TV is properly fed and watered, that the iPad children across the galaxy can enjoy Cocomelon in the superior 4:3 format, that Klarna can provide $13,000 loans for our new IMAX AI SpongeBob edition TVs, or that we can finally experience the lost forbidden Shrek 2 movie? And Tyler also needs more content for his iPad. It's time that we take a stand, not only as individual nations, but as a planet, to ensure that head and 4:3 Cocomelon is accessible to everyone. Thank you.